Good evening, folks. Welcome to Convos with your Carolina Curveball boys from Carolina Curveball. We are here this Thursday night to talk to you about the weekend preview as well as recap this past midweek. There was a lot of action across the diamond in the Carolinas as well as across the country, as we will dabble into tonight. Myself, Kason Rameli, Braxton Reed. How's it going, fellas?
Doing
Pretty
well.
good, man. Watching this
Good.
Carolina Duke game right now. But
Yes, Carolina Duke right now is playing in the top of the seventh. The Heels lead 3-2. The Blue Devils are up to bat as Wallace Clark is up to bat right now. We will keep you monitored on that if you are watching that as well. But tonight, folks, we have a special announcement. We have a special guest from a friend of ours, Caleb Connelley from College Baseball Central. Caleb, it's good to have you on.
It's good to be here, guys. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Thank you all for having me on and inviting me over.
Yeah, man. Just we'll let you have the floor here to kind of talk about yourself and talk about how you got to where you are today and why you love baseball.
Well, I started with College Baseball Central. This January, I started covering college baseball. This is my first year. I'm from Alabama, Sylacauga, a small town of about 10,000 people. Probably never heard of it, but it's about an hour west of Auburn and about an hour south of Birmingham. We're right here, right in the middle of all the major cities. And I fell in love with baseball, same as most people did covering ball. I played it in high school. I probably could have played the next level, but I didn't. And I started just following the game closer than ever before. And going to regionals, going to SC tournaments, going to the World Series 3 years ago. Just made me fall in love with it more and more. And now here I am.
Yeah, man, that's absolutely awesome. And I see your shirt you're wearing. You're repping the Coastal Carolina shirt all the way there in Alabama. It's good to see that repping the Carolinas. So you say you're from so you're from Alabama. Do you like the UAB Blazers, the Auburn Tigers, Alabama Tide?
I'm an Auburn guy. War Eagle. I'm an Auburn guy.
War Eagle all the way. So tell us how baseball is going down there in Alabama this year. Kind of give us a recap of what each team in that area is kind of doing so far.
Well, I went last week to watch UAB and Jacksonville State in Birmingham. It was a fun game. Jacksonville State won that game 4-1. But the major teams to watch for in Alabama this year is Auburn, Alabama, and then you got Troy. Troy's right now looking like a 2 seed. They're a very good team in the Sun Belt. They're right there, the 2 spot in Alabama, probably 2 or 3 right there. With Auburn, Auburn's probably 2 or 3. You can flop them back and forth whichever way. And then Alabama's right now probably the best team in the state. They've looked elite. Justin LeBron, he's their shortstop. He's been leading the way for the team, and he's probably going to be your Golden Spikes Award winner. If I had to pick right now, I would say he would win the Golden Spikes Award.
yeah, he's been.
And I do see Alabama hosting a regional this year, and that's probably where I will end up heading for a regional this year.
Yeah, Caleb, I got a question for you. So obviously, you're from Alabama, but you've been following pretty much nationally college ball. I'd say. Who are your probably like core teams that you kind of follow? Obviously, you got the Coastal shirt on, but of the Carolinas, of the teams that we cover, like who do you kind of lean towards or kind of cheer for from down there?
Of the Carolinas, or just of the Carolinas, I would say North Carolinas, NC State, Wake Forest, Coastal Carolina, of course, East Carolina. Those are the main ones I follow. I did see Campbell play a few years back, and I really like that squad in Bowie's Creek, and I keep up with them pretty closely. Charleston also. But the baseball in the Carolinas is unreal. I was thinking about that earlier. It's probably the best in the country, if statewide. I really think it is. And I love how y'all do it. Everyone plays each other. I like that a lot. The mid-majors will play the high majors on a midweek, and it's so much fun to watch. But I love the way y'all do it over there.
Yeah, I got one for you too, Caleb. So obviously most of us went to East Carolina. We have a pretty big East Carolina following. Obviously, we all know that Bristol Carter transferred down to Auburn. I guess just kind of tell everyone, how he's been this season, because I know, a lot of the Pirate fans sure do miss him.
Yeah, I was telling y'all earlier, I'm a fan of Bristol Carter. I mean, he hasn't lit up the numbers this year. He's batting, I think, 268 with about 8 bombs or 2 bombs, 8 RBIs. Had it backwards. But yeah, I like him a lot. He's only a sophomore. I hope he can stick around for a couple more years and see what his upside can potentially be, because I really do like him in the outfield for our team. And I was excited getting him out of transport. I was like, Bristol Carter from East Carolina, you know he's going to be a dog.
Yeah, he was a major player in the transfer portal, and someone else that East Carolina lost in the transfer portal. And Caleb, I will preface this: we do have a massive East Carolina following, and I promise you they are watching, so they are not going to like this next name I bring up too. Zach Root transferred down there to Arkansas. He has been playing pretty well down there for Arkansas. Just talk about the SEC as a whole, because I know you follow them, and just who are your top programs in the SEC right now?
Yeah, y'all know how the SEC is. It's year in and year out, very, very dominant. I mean, you'll have 8 regional hosts probably out of that conference and probably 12 bids in the tournament. Right now, I do not see South Carolina, Missouri, Mississippi State making it. Those 3. I'm trying to think who else would not make it. South Carolina.
Florida,
Who
maybe.
did I have in my no, Florida. Florida are texting him. Yeah, that's right. One of those 4 would not make it. LSU, Tennessee, Georgia. I really like Georgia a lot. They've looked very good. They can crush the baseball. In Texas, I mean, Jim Schlossnagle, he's not skipped a beat. I mean, he's just a winner. He wins everywhere he goes. But again, this year, I mean, I'll see 8 teams in the regional out of SEC, and I think we could see 4 in Omaha again.
Yeah, no question about it. Go.
For the regular season title, it's going to come down to LSU, Tennessee, or Georgia, I think. And SEC tournament this year, it's in Hoover again, and they'll be taking every team in the conference tournament. We usually take, I think, 12 out of the 14, but now the 16 teams of the conference, we'll be taking all 16. I think the first 4 get double byes, and then the next 4, 5 through 8, get 1 bye, and then the first day will be the 8 through 16 seeds playing. But a single elimination tournament, just straightforward, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, it is going to be huge going forward. And Reed, mistake me if I'm wrong, but isn't the ACC doing that as well this upcoming season?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
And then to kind of keep it in the SEC in the Carolinas, Braxton, we'll begin with you. I know we've talked about it. We'll get Caleb's take on this too. South Carolina this year has not performed like we have expected them to, or maybe some people did, because I know on our previous show when we previewed the season, South Carolina was picked 14th in the SEC in the preseason poll, and I know some of us were like, it is South Carolina baseball. Granted, they have not been to what they have been in years past, but coming in, Paul Maneri taking over, there were high expectations for this program, Braxton, and just they have not performed at its best. And we went through their series pre-show with Caleb, and it's going to be very tough for them to get an SEC series win.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I mean, we did go through their schedule, and it's not looking good for the Gamecocks. I mean, I think when Maneri came in, I think we all kind of expected them to kind of get back to their old ways and be a giant in college baseball, just like they were in the early 2010s. But they came to find out it's not going to be very easy for them. I think they just lack. I think they lack hitting, honestly, because Nathan Hall and Ethan Petrie have kind of led the way. But after that, it's kind of fallen off. They're trying a bunch of different guys. And I'm interested to see what Caleb's take on it is, because he's probably watched a little more SEC ball than me this year. But, I don't see this team making a regional like y'all said. So we'll see what happens. I hope they do for the Carolina's sake and for the Gamecocks fan base sake. But shout out Yardcocks. But we'll see what happens.
Caleb, we'll get your take on the Gamecocks and their struggles this season.
Yeah, going through that gauntlet of the SEC schedule, a 1-8 start, 1-12 in quad 1 games. And it's not going to get any easier. The only series that are winnable right now are Mississippi State on the road at Duty Noble. Then you're at Texas A&M, which is winnable right now, at Kentucky, and then maybe at Auburn, and then they got Florida at home. But I see 9 wins. 9 wins I'm projecting right now out of the Gamecocks, 9-21, and that's not going to cut it. 36 in RPI though.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But RPI, as y'all know, doesn't matter right now.
Right. You got to think though, potential that history of the SEC, with how strong they are, if they somehow maybe get to 14 and 16, that would be good enough to probably put them in the tournament. Maybe 12 and 12.
Yeah, I think the lowest they could get in tournament is 13 and 17.
Right.
Because I think there've been a few that's gotten at 13 and 17, but not very many.
Yeah,
Caleb, I want to ask you about another team out of the Sun Belt in your state, Troy. I know we talked a little bit pre-show about them. I've had the opportunity to play there at that field in that program. Do you think they'll win the Sun Belt, or are you going to take your Coastal Carolina Chanticleers or maybe another team like Southern Miss? What do you think about the Sun Belt this year?
Sun Belt's fun. I mean, it's a very fun league. Like you were saying, I think Southern Miss is going to win the league. I think Southern Miss ends up hosting a regional in Hattiesburg. But Troy and Southern Miss, they play the last series of the season, and I will be there at Troy on May 15th through 17th. That should be a very fun series. I think there'll be 2 top 25 teams. But right now, I see Southern Miss taking the Sun Belt. I do see 3 bids out of the league, though. Troy, Southern Miss, and Coastal Carolina making it. And all 3 are really good this year and good enough to be a host.
Yeah.
I think 2 will be the 2 seeds, and then Southern Miss is the 1 seed.
Yeah, and that's why the Sun Belt is called the Fun Belt, because you never know what's going to happen, especially on the baseball side of things. Now we will transition to our weekly pick'em that Braxton has pulled up for us. And Caleb, you were a part of this. We let you pick the 5 games that we picked on our must-watch list. So, Caleb, right now, Duke and UNC are playing right now. UNC leads 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th right now. Heels have 2 on with 2 outs in the 7th. Your pick, the Heels over Duke.
Yes, I am. I have that game on TV right now. It's a very good one, 3-2, bottom 7, like you were saying. North Carolina's got 2 outs. Looks like they're threatening to score again, but I picked the Heels. This was a tough series to pick, let me tell you. Duke, I mean, they started off very rough. Everybody was like, man, Duke may be the most disappointed Power 4 team this season. But since then, they've won 8. They're 8-1 in the last 9 games, and they won their last 2 ACC series, NC State and Virginia. North Carolina, they've been pretty average since starting 13-1. I think they're 7-6 since then. But that pitching staff in North Carolina, I mean, is just levels above Duke's, and I think that's going to be a difference maker this series. And I do got North Carolina taking 2 out of 3. I do not see a sweep. I do got North Carolina taking the series because it is at home, and I think their pitching staff is just a lot better than Duke's.
Yeah, I like that.
Reed, your pick for this was UNC, if I'm not mistaken. What are you looking to see from the Heels?
Yeah, I agree with everything Caleb said. But, one thing I think me and Braxton had our eye on is the Carolina offense could kind of turn things around. Kepley was 0 for 19 coming into today, but he's been hit by a pitch 3 times so far this game. He's still getting on base, but, in the 3rd inning, they had the bases loaded with no outs, and Stevenson, Stokely, Bass all strike out. So, they're just missing those timely key hits like they were getting last year, but the pitching staff is going to keep them in just about every single game.
Braxton?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the key for them is to get Kepley on base. I mean, we've seen him just produce runs, especially early in the year when they had that 13-1 start that Caleb alluded to. Like, he was just getting on base easily, stealing bags. He's got 19 steals, second in the Carolinas that we dropped today on our stat leaders post. But, like, I think your pitching staff's going to be good enough to win some of these close games, like hopefully this one here. Like, if you can get them 2, 3, 4 runs, like, I think we've got enough good arms to even hold an offense like Duke's at home. So we'll see what happens, but we do need the offense to step it up a little bit coming from a Carolina fan perspective.
Yeah, no question about it. Be sure to be tuned in that series this weekend on ACC Network, ACC Network Plus. They're playing right now. That series will end on Saturday. Caleb, your next pick, Wake Forest at Florida State. Wake Forest coming off of a sweep, getting swept by Virginia Tech. And this Virginia Tech squad, I mean, a couple weeks ago we were saying we don't know if they're very good. They came into Greenville. Me and Reed watched that game when Virginia Tech came in for the Keith LeClaire Classic, and the Pirates took them down. And then this past weekend, we did not put this game in the pick'em Virginia Tech Wake Forest because we kind of thought Wake Forest would handle this one and they go and get swept. So big test coming up for the Demon Deacons in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I did pick Florida State in this series. Wake Forest looked pretty rough the last few games. They're 1-5 in the last 6. And Florida State, they got the shortstop Alex Lodice, and he's been the top player in the country, I think, so far. He's batting .463, 11 home runs, 37 RBIs. And Florida State's also got the second ranked in the nation weekend rotation ERA. So I think that's going to be another big difference maker. I do see Florida State taking 2 or 3 in this series.
Yeah, Reed, this is a very tough series for the Demon Deacons, facing pitchers like Jamie Arnold, as he said, just absolute studs on the mound. But Reed, I will say, in years past, these are series that Tom Walter gets his boys up for and ready for.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, ever since Wake started 6-0 in the ACC, they've kind of faltered over the last few weeks. Kind of feels like a must-needed series win here headed to Tallahassee. Obviously, they're going to have their hands full. Florida State's looked like one of the best teams in the country, but I'm looking to see if Wake can kind of turn around. Besides Lunsford, the pitching staff, has really struggled over the past couple of weeks. Walking a lot of batters, especially during that Virginia Tech series. They blew some big leads at Clemson 2 weeks ago, so it'll be interesting to see, without a doubt.
Braxton?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a big series for Wake, but it's just as big for Florida State. I mean, that, like Caleb was saying, the low dice kid has been tearing it up down there, and I fully expect Blink Jarrett and them to take the series. I picked Florida State as well. Wake, I mean, they just looked like a different team last week, and we were all kind of surprised by that. But I think that series more helped out Virginia Tech than kind of hurt Wake in a way. I think that really helped Virginia Tech, get an RPI rise and probably make the tournament just from that alone if they play their cards right the rest of the way. But I got Florida State as well.
Did y'all see that Lodice was not on the midseason Golden Spikes watch list?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What are they thinking? I mean,
doesn't he have a cousin or brother or something on is it Georgia Tech?
I'm not sure.
I swear there's like another Lodice floating around there somewhere.
This is probably FSU's hardest test, though, to date. Obviously they've had some midweek games against Florida, but Florida's really struggled, and they've kind of had an easier part of the ACC schedule to open the season.
Yeah, and as we wrap up the Florida State discussion, Caleb, Braxton's Pops has a question for you. What are your thoughts on Link Jarrett down there in Tallahassee and the job he's doing?
Well, it's his third season. I mean, I think he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, that's a tough place to come in and just, start right away, like after what they had before. I went to their regional last year in Tallahassee, and, he's got the fans behind him, that's for sure, and I think he could get him a ring while he's down there.
Former Carolina's coach at UNC Greensboro back in the day, and then went to Notre Dame, of course, took that team to Omaha, and then now he's down there. So he's done a great job everywhere he's gone.
I thought last year should have been the year that he won it, but he's got a very good team again this year.
Yeah, they got robbed against Tennessee on that.
Oh, yeah.
That game.
Oh, yeah. That sure was something.
Dude, I think Cam Smith, by the way, is like going to fast track to the MLB, I heard.
Him
the guy from Florida State last year.
Yeah.
Who was the other guy, the left fielder? What was his name?
Tibbs? I don't remember their. Oh, maybe it was
James Tibbs. Is that
James?
right?
James.
ACC player of the year last year.
Yeah, he was a animal out there.
He'll be in MLB soon too, I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
on the next pick'em, this one is close to home for Braxton and close to home to us, as we have some High Point ties with players and Rockets down there in the High Point. USC Upstate at High Point. And Caleb, High Point has been putting up video game numbers this season. This weekend, they scored 32 runs versus Radford. And this 32 runs in a game, by the way, not the series for those listening. Caleb, I know you know that, but for the ones listening. And we did our leaders in the Carolinas today, and High Point has 3 players in the top 10 in average, with Coney Terschlag leading the Carolinas as well as leading the country. Am I right? Am I right on that, Braxton?
Yeah, before the weight game the other day, he was. So I think he still is. But
so Coney Terschlag batting .482, and then Landon Johnson batting .400, and then Jackson Melton bringing up bringing up the rear with 396, which is just absolutely unbelievable. Caleb, your pick on High Point. Is it because of this offense has been just so crazy to watch?
I mean, they're a fun team to watch in general. Like you were saying, they scored 32 runs on Radford the other day. And they're 6-0 in the Big South. In those 6 games, they've averaged 14.5 runs per game. I know that 32 skews it a little bit, but I mean, they're still scoring some other runs in some other games. And like you were saying, Landon Johnson, Derschlag, both batting upper 400s. This team is super fun to watch. They're 20-9. I do got them winning the series, maybe sweeping USCF State because USCF State's under 500 right now. But the way High Point's been playing lately, I mean, they did get beat by Wake Forest 13-1 the other day. But I mean, come on now.
Yeah,
they won 11-2, 32-8, and 14-3 against Radford. And I mean, just looking at that, and Radford beat Virginia Tech 2 days ago, and then beat
exactly.
who did they beat next on Wednesday?
They won, but they won on Wednesday too.
They played 2 games this week. Yeah, they played 2 midweek games. Let me see real quick. They beat Virginia Tech. They beat East Tennessee State. Okay, but yeah, that's 2 good wins right there. And you beat them by scoring 57 runs on them. But yeah, I got High Point winning the series. Both these teams were picked to top the Big South preseason bowl. And if you didn't know, Game 2 on Saturday is going to be on ESPNU at 6:30 with Mike Rooney and Clay Matvick on the call, which will be really cool. I think I'll be tuned into that game.
Yeah, which is
pretty
cool.
I did see that.
And Caleb, how scary is this High Point?
You don't want them in a.
Caleb, how scary would this High Point team be coming in at a 4?
You could see a 3 seed out of this team. I think you could see a 3 seed out of this team, and that's one team you do not want to see in your regional. We lose them.
We might have lost Jason for a bit, but no, you're certainly right about High Point, dude. Like I remember when we went there a few years ago when I was playing at Upstate, we did sweep them, but that was a way different High Point team. Yeah. That was the year before they won it last year. They won the Big South tournament last year, and that team was hot as anybody. They went down to Clemson and nearly beat Clemson. They did beat Vandy, and then they played. Did they play Coastal? I don't know if they did, but I think that's definitely a team that you don't want in the regional. But anyways, let's see. I guess we'll just go to the next game. Hopefully, Tayson can get back in here. But Northeastern at Campbell. What you got on that one, Caleb?
Northeastern and Campbell. This was another tough one I had to pick. I did pick Northeastern in the series. Northeastern's 19-8, 5-1 in the CAA. The winner of this series will be in first place in the CAA. And right now, I do see that being a win-bid league, and I do have Northeastern making it. Northeastern has 7 shutouts. That is the most in the NCAA. I saw that graphic on Twitter the other day. They're on a 7-game win streak. They hold the 6th best ERA in the whole country. And I saw another interesting stat from Campbell. They've scored 46 runs with 2 outs in their last 11 games. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's a very cool stat to have. But I do see Northeastern winning the series 2 games out of 3.
So you got them winning the CAA over the likes of Campbell, Charleston, UNCW, all those guys?
Yeah, I do right now.
Okay. Reed, do you think Campbell makes it 5 in a row or whatever it is for 5 seasons?
I was really tempted to pick them this weekend. Obviously, they've been playing so much better. Minus Tuesday night when they got blown out. But I'm going to lean with Northeastern. They've been a mainstay at the top of the CAA over the past couple years. And obviously, like Caleb was saying, their pitching has been sensational this season. So I like them 2 out of 3 this weekend.
But Campbell has turned it on as of late. Beating Charleston 2 games out of 3, and then beating Charlotte last week, and then also win against UNCW 2 weeks ago. UConn they have turned it on as of late.
Yep, is it 4 straight series they've won?
4 straight. UConn and Texas State too.
Yeah, Texas State, UConn, UNC Wilmington, Charleston.
And I swear they've been in the pick'em like 5 times, and I picked against them almost every time. So I'm not doing it anymore. I'm picking Campbell. I'm riding with the Camels. I know we have a pretty good Campbell following, so I'm hoping to get on their good side, just like Tech was back in the day a few weeks ago. But I don't know, that ship may have sailed.
Hey boys, I am back. My wife had a problem. That's why I kind of fell off, but I am back here. For those listening, watching, boys, I'm back here. Hopefully I'm coming through clearly. But Braxton, where were we talking about Campbell and Northeastern?
Yeah, we just finished that one. If you want to give your thoughts on it, we can go to the state series, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Campbell. I think they are playing amazing. They're playing great right now. I know Northeastern is first in the CAA, if I am not mistaken. Right, Braxton?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the winner of this is first, is what Caleb said.
Well, Northeastern's 5-1, Campbell's 4-2. So yeah.
Technically, yeah, they are.
Yeah, this is a big time series. I definitely think this is not the last time these two teams will see each other. I definitely think they will see each other in the CAA tournament. I don't know what the format of the CAA tournament is. I know these smaller conferences have wacky ones. I know the Sun Belt Conference one is a little wacky too, but we'll see. Curious to see what happens here. I think Campbell gets it. Done though, Braxton.
Okay. All right, we'll go to our home, Raleigh, where they will be hosting the Virginia Cavaliers, and this is a Virginia team that's kind of like Campbell and kind of like Duke, starting to get hot. Struggled early, but it looks like they're starting to get a little bit hot, and they're kind of coming to Raleigh facing NC State, who just dropped a series against Duke last week. But I went with NC State. I just think their pitching is better with Fritton and Marone and some of those guys on the mound. But Caleb, looks like you went for Virginia. What do you got on the Cavaliers?
More I look at this, the more I want to change to NC State, but I'm gonna stick it out for this. Virginia, yeah, that's been pretty inconsistent this year. They swept Duke, then they come last weekend and sweep Stanford. NC State, they're 2-4 in the last 6. Pitching struggled last week. I think they gave up 27 runs in the 3 games against Duke. You see Jay Wolfolk pitching on Friday night, and I like him a lot. He had some tough starts, but he's a veteran with plenty of experience. And his changeup and sliders looked very sharp to me. I like him a lot. Then you got Dominic Fritton at NC State, and he's became a legitimate Friday ace. I think AC hitters are 183 batting average against him. But right now I see Virginia taking the series 2 games out of 3. I think every game will be close though.
Yeah, and as you touched on, Jay Warfolk for Virginia, former quarterback at Virginia too. I remember when he was doing both, and then he made the transition fully to baseball. I think that was the right decision personally for him. He made the right choice, and it's turned out well for him for sure. And as you touched on, Dominic Fritton has been on fire this year for NC State. Last year he had a very up and down year, but this year he's really settled down, and that Wolfpack lineup is starting to come to life. At the beginning of the year, they were young, a lot of new pieces, but they've really found their way here. And Reed, your thoughts on Virginia coming to Raleigh?
Yeah, I was the only one on the Curveball staff to pick Virginia. Last week was good things for Virginia, taking care of business, sweeping Stanford. State obviously last week as a whole struggled, but I think this Virginia lineup I think is better. Obviously, I like the State pitching staff, but I think this Virginia lineup is very explosive. One key issue they've had is Harrison Didwick. He hit 20+ homers last year, 60+ RBIs, was a real key piece for them. He's really struggled this year, batting 180, only 1 homer on the season. So, if he could turn things around, this Virginia team could start to play up to their preseason number 2 ranking.
Braxton?
Yeah, no, I'm going State. I think Fritton's going to be too much on Friday night. I thought that last week too, but they dropped game 1 at Duke, and that I think that's the key for State is to just win behind Fritton, get a 1-0 lead in the series, and then let your offense kind of figure it out in game 2 and game 3. You're going to have probably a good crowd over at Doak this weekend, I'd imagine, if we get some good weather. So I think that they'll be able to take this series actually and get a big one for them going forward.
Yeah,
I'll say this.
Go ahead, Caleb.
I'll say this: whoever wins Friday night will win the series. I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
Yep, I will agree with that. I think whoever sets that tone on Friday night will win the series for sure. And those are the 5 series that we're looking at Carolina Curveball. And as we wrap up here with you, Caleb, what are some other series around the country that you have your eye on this weekend that you want to have some spotlight
Well, the first one is this LSU Oklahoma series that I had on a minute ago. I think that's a very critical series for both teams. I mean, Oklahoma's still in the race. They had a tough loss last week against Alabama, lost 2 games out of 3. But they're still a top 10 team, in my opinion. And LSU, of course, is LSU, still top 10. And whoever wins that series, I think will have a good shot at winning the SEC regular season title. Another one is Tennessee Texas A&M. I know Texas A&M is 1-8, but if they win this series, they could really spark something for the Aggies, I think, because they're still a very talented team, as we all know. They just haven't gelled like we thought they would, I guess you could say, coming as a preseason number 1 and then having the season they've had so far. Those 2 series on top of my head are the ones I'll be watching. Of course, you got Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl of baseball going on this weekend. That'll be a very fun series. Whenever we play any sport against Alabama, it's always a bitter rival, and we always want to beat them in anything it is. I mean, it's a huge rivalry down here. So that'd be a really good series. Both teams are ranked. Another one I was thinking about was West Kentucky and Dallas Baptist. I don't know if y'all know about them, but they're 2 in the Conference USA. That'll be battling for an at-large spot. I think if West Kentucky does not win the Conference USA, they will not make it, even though they're 25-4. They just don't have the resume for it. And Dallas Baptist, I think they will make it if they don't win it. So, I mean, that's one to watch for there. And that's about it for me.
Yeah.
And
Georgia, Texas this week. I forgot about that one. Georgia and Texas, the top 5 series.
That's a big one.
And I picked on the College Baseball Central's pick'ems. I picked Georgia in this series, which I was the only one. So maybe the Bulldogs can pull it out. I really like that squad they have over there.
I saw Texas had a couple key injuries too. I saw one of their top pitchers is out for the season, or one of their big bats is out for the season too.
I mean, yeah, Georgia's just been crushing the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Braxton, do you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I had Dallas Baptist in my Omaha 8, and I was gonna ask Caleb. I don't know if you changed it or if you had a preseason one, but give me your Omaha before you get out of here soon. Give me your Omaha 8 and your national champion.
I'm gonna give you my Omaha 8 from preseason, and I'll give it to you right now. Let me look at it. Let me look real quick. Let me look.
I hope there's some Carolina teams in there.
Perfect. We'll see.
Cade Anderson just had threw 130 pitches shutout for LSU.
Oh my gosh.
Are you serious?
Okay,
Yeah,
here's my Omaha 8 from. Well, this was last year. Hang on. I gotta find from this year.
No worries.
Ryan Lynch was pitching for Carolina, by the way. He had a good 8th inning. I don't know who they're going to put out there for the 9th, but hopefully it's not Mateus.
This was in December. Okay, this is good enough. This is in December.
Okay.
December 22nd, 2024. Tennessee, LSU, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Clemson, Florida State, Oregon State, and North Carolina. So I had one. But as of right now, it's tough. I ain't put one out in a few weeks, but if I had to pick right now, I'd say Tennessee, Florida State. I'd say Clemson. Georgia. I think I got right with Oregon State still.
I got them in there too.
Yeah.
They play Irvine this week, and that's a big series.
Yeah.
And I'd probably say Alabama. I don't want to say it, but I'd probably say Alabama. 6. Texas.
Coastal in there?
I don't
Think
see
gets
Coastal in there.
East Carolina?
Coastal in there. If East Carolina keeps winning like they are, maybe.
Maybe the Heels?
Yeah, I'd say North Carolina in there, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. What about national champ? Tennessee?
Right now, yeah. As bad as I don't want to say it, I don't like seeing back-to-back champions. I want to see parity. I want to see chaos.
Yeah.
I want to see Cliff Godwin get a ring.
He
deserves it.
I cannot
Hopefully,
wait.
Omaha appearance first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Omaha appearance for the Pirates first. That is first for sure. Well, Caleb, thank you for joining on. It has been an absolute blast. This will definitely not be your last time coming on. We will definitely see you soon on here. It has been an absolute blast, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Thank y'all for having me. Reed, Kaysen, and Braxton, thank y'all guys. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed it. I hope to see y'all again soon.
Yeah, man. And Caleb, be sure to plug your work, where people can find you and where they can find your work.
Yeah, right now, I mean, I'm I'm mostly on Twitter. That's the main platform I use. You can find me at Caleb Connelley. If you watch the video, that's how you spell it, just like that. No caps, no underscores, no spaces, just like that. And I use Instagram every now and then. That's more of my personal life, but those are the only two right now. Maybe something in the works later on, but you can find me there and just follow along and message me. I'll message back always. I'm an open book. Come at me.
Yes, sir.
Go.
Caleb, it was fun. We will see you soon, sir.
I'll see y'all.
Appreciate
Have
it.
a good night, fellas.
See ya. You too. All right, boys. That was an absolute blast with Caleb. Really, really good to hear his insights. Insights there have been an absolute blast. And Braxton, we get an update on the Carolina game for the people?
Yeah, Carolina just scored a 4th run. There's 2 outs. It looks like Kepley's on second, so a base hit will probably score another here if Luke Stevenson can come through. But like I said, Ryan Lynch through the 8th. It looks like Colby's here, by the way.
Yes, sir, he is. Well, I was about to welcome him in right now. Mr. Gallimore.
That was good. I think Caleb should come on a lot.
Oh, yeah, first. I definitely think he should come on a lot. Colby, how's it going, man? What's going on?
Good. I was just watching first 30 minutes with Caleb and watching the Carolina Duke game at the same time. It was a big insurance run. The second baseman just tripped and fell. And
Is that what happened? I didn't even see what happened.
yeah, it was a little questionable. But
Hey, we'll take it. Any way we can scratch a run, we'll take
that's
it.
a big one.
So, okay, so we're going to go over the midweek slate.
Yeah, we have a comment here first. We have a couple comments here. We'll go with this one first. Our good buddy Jack Parr, Braxton has no ball knowledge. Braxton, your comments?
That just wasn't needed. I mean, we can do better than that, Parr. Come on.
And Parr was also a fan of Caleb's flags. Yeah, those pennants were
Ask him about his setup, bro.
I know. Colby, did you peep the Dodgers one?
Yeah.
Did have a Dodgers one? That was tough. I'm also very curious where he got that regional poster from, because that makes me mad, because looking back on it, I should have stole like 3 of those, because I've covered 2 regionals, so I should have stole a bunch of these ones.
We did that all the time in D2 ball. We would steal banners.
I should have
anything
done
we could get our hands on, bro. We'd hang it up in the apartment.
Looking back on it. And the last comment is from Mr. Dippin' Dot himself, Southern Miss Natty. Yeah, I would love to hear Matt and Caleb talk some baseball. I would love to hear.
Bro, I thought he was when Caleb said that Southern Miss was going to win the Sun Belt. I thought Matt was going to come in here with a huge smile on his face. But
yeah, there's no question about it. All right, Braxton, if you want to pull up the midweek slate,
let's run through this. This is Tuesday, so we can just run through these.
Yeah. Also, real quick, I'm gonna run through Wednesdays first before we get into Tuesdays, because they were just three games. Charlotte defeats USC Upstate in a big one, 8-4. Citadel wins 7-5 over Winthrop, and East Carolina beats Elon 7-5 as well. But as we start off here, Reed Tobin, we will lead off with you talking about your Queens squad. Queens falls 21-1 to Georgia in Athens. I mean, Reed, I've asked you every week, where do the Royals go from here?
I mean, props to them for playing some of the top SEC teams back-to-back weeks. Nothing much to add to that. I mean, Georgia's one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, no question about it. And Western Carolina defeats App State on a roller coaster of a season. Western Carolina, a good win for them. And Colby, as we've texted before, this is just a typical Western Carolina game. I mean, they like to score 2 or 3 touchdowns per game if they're gonna win the game. If they kick a field goal, they're not winning the game. So this is a typical Western game, wouldn't you say, Colby?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the first thing you should do on Tuesday or Wednesday or the weekend is bet the over in the Western Carolina game if you can. I think you'd be up a lot of units this year.
Yeah, I think the better question is, could you find that game anywhere to bet on? That's the
problem. That's the issue.
I don't think so.
That's the issue.
They play again. They play again this week.
Tying run to the plate for Duke, dropped 3 straight, and went to the
Albright.
Yeah, he struck out.
Lynch is still in for the 9th. Then.
Yeah, he struck out.
Yeah. Western and App play again this week, so we can maybe find the over. We'll all bet it together.
Yes, hopefully we can. And the next game, Coastal Carolina defeats Campbell 15-1. I know I talked about it on Steve and Igo show tonight, 94 this afternoon, 9-3 the game. This Coastal Carolina team, I mean, this is a phenomenal program. They've always been able to mash. Now they can pitch as well. But Braxton, this Coastal team, I mean, Campbell's been playing very, very well. But I mean, I don't care how good you're playing, but when you run into a buzzsaw like they have down there in Conway, it's hard to win.
Yeah, Coastal is absolutely firing on all cylinders. They looked really, really good. Sebastian Alexander had 2 homers in that game. If he's starting to swing it well with the rest of their lineup, and honestly, the lineup hasn't even been their strong point. It's been their rotation on the weekend that they've just relied on. But if they can start hitting, especially if Barthol and Bodine, that we know are big hitters, can start coming around, and then some other guys in that lineup, Dean Mijos has been hitting well for them most of the season. Ty Dooley, I think, had a homer the other night. But I mean, look, they're sitting at a 5 in RPI right now with a 4 in strength of schedule. I mean, they are looking very, very good to host right now. I know in the field of 64s that have come out, they've been a regional host in pretty much all of them. So, I mean, I'm expecting this team to just continue climbing upwards. Hopefully they continue to win in the Sun Belt. But I mean, yeah, great win for them against a hot Campbell team. So,
yes, a flaming hot Campbell team. And Reed, we talked about earlier, Campbell, a really tough week for them this week. You play Coastal, and then you play Northeastern. We're going to find out what the Camels are made of this week, aren't we, Reed?
Without a doubt. I mean, we all know they've been playing better. They've won 4 series in a row. Cracked back in our top 12 after a couple weeks out of it. But, you know, that was kind of shocking Tuesday, you know, just completely blown out down in Conway.
Yeah, no question about it. And as we move down west and south-ish, the battle of Charleston Southern at College of Charleston. And boys, does the Carolina Curveball curse live on as Charleston Southern continues to slip games, or is it their own fault?
I mean, look, they were in this game, at least when I was keeping up with the score. I think this is a bigger win for Charleston than it is a loss for Charleston Southern. I think at this point, Charleston Southern is going to need to just worry about their Big South weekends and make sure they make that tournament, because, you know, that's their ticket right now. Whereas College of Charleston, like, I think their RPI is really low right now. There's 183. I mean, what compared to their last year RPI of like 40 something, and they still didn't make the tournament off of that. So they're going to have to win the CAA. I know we talked about the CAA, but, you know, I think that they can build off of this type of win in the midweek. You know, they go into the weekend. I think I want to say they play somewhere up north. Is it like Monmouth, maybe?
Yes, they do.
So I mean, they need to win that series. I know they're going to be traveling up there, but possibly some weather or anything like that. But they've got to win some series, and they've got to honestly get some sweeps. I mean, they need to build off something right now, and they need to rely on Jake Brink and Aiden Hunter and those guys in their lineup, like Darian Pendergrass, who's leading the Carolinas in steals. They need to just start getting hot, and like they did last year. But, you know, it's kind of been a disappointing season so far for the Cougars.
Yeah, it has been, but it's a long season, and we'll see. Right now, quick live update here for those live watching, and if you are listening on Spotify, the game's over, so it doesn't matter to you. But Duke, 2 on, no outs in the top of the 9th. Duke is laying down the Cliff Godwin special bunt.
I don't like this. I don't like that play.
You don't like that play, Colby?
No, the reliever's having a little bit of control issues right now.
You cannot hit into a double play right now. A game would be over.
That's true. It's just the control issue. Maybe it's throwing him off because he's pulling it back every time, but the reliever just walked him on 5 pitches the year before.
They got to get
reminding me Ryan Lynch right now of what he did when we all went to the ECU Carolina game, just out of control and wild.
I think they need to put in Mateus or something.
Yeah, I mean, McDuffie's warming up.
Okay, that's fine.
And as we move on.
Hit by pitch.
Colby's ahead of us.
Colby's about an inch ahead of us. Okay.
He's always ahead of us.
But so those listening, bases are loaded for Duke with no outs in the top of the 9th. As we take a break there, because I'm predicting a pitching change, Colby, we'll pass it to you, your alma mater. Liberty at Charlotte. Charlotte picks up 2 very nice wins this week in the midweek, 2-0 over Liberty and Upstate Colby. This Charlotte program, they are trending upwards, and they're going to be tough out in the American.
Oh yeah, Charlotte looks really good. Offense looks good, pitching looks good. I mean, don't forget Liberty has kind of been the North Carolina school killers this year. I mean, they beat NC State and Duke early in the season. Charlotte wasn't having any of that Tuesday night
Wake
and
too.
took care of business. That's right, Wake Forest as well. Charlotte wasn't having any of that, took care of business, and the team's playing really well right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they keep getting better throughout American play.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing what they do in American play. And right here, I'm going to plug in our stat leaders. Cody Gunderson, catcher for Charlotte, but according to Charlotte fans, he doesn't catch for them. But he's batting 385, which is ninth in the Carolinas. And also there were 2 other guys. Blake Gillespie has 58 strikeouts on the year for Charlotte. That is tied for 3rd in the Carolinas. And there's one more, saves. Joseph Taylor is tied for 2nd in the Carolinas with 5 saves. Just an all-around affair here for the 49ers, as they're going to be tough out going forward. Really looking forward to seeing how the American shapes up at the top. As I don't know if you guys caught this, but the D1 baseball guys has South Florida as an at-large bid out of the American, which I thought was very interesting during their field of 64, which also – a little quick tease here for those listening. Carolina Curveball will be releasing their field of 64, created by none other than Reed Tobin. So quick little pause here on this. Reed Tobin, talk to the people about your field of 64 and the criteria of you creating that.
Yeah, it's something I've kind of always wanted. I did it a few years ago, got all the regional hosts correct. But yeah, it'll be out. I think we're going to do every other Wednesday for the month of April, and then more than likely one a week as we get closer to the NCAA tournament in May.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that for sure. And we'll see if the 49ers can get an at-large bid. They are definitely trending towards that right now. The next game we're going to talk about is Duke over Davidson. They defeat them 12-0 over Money's Wildcats. Duke is a very good team, as we see right now on the TV. They have bases loaded with no outs over Carolina in the 9th. Reed, I'll pass this next one to you. East Carolina hits a go-ahead grand slam from Alex Boucher to win 10-6 over in Wilmington, a place where the Pirates tend to struggle a whole lot, Reed.
Yeah, certainly. Haven't had the best history down there past couple years. But that was a big swing from Boucher in the 10th inning there. You know, they were up 6-4 late, gave up a 2-run homer there in the 8th inning. But, you know, props to Boucher. He's been struggling at the plate for a good part of the season, and was able to give the Pirates have been playing certainly a lot better ball. That's 500 now for them. So, yeah, interested to see if they can carry that momentum headed into this weekend against FAU.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Reed, Wilmington has been on the struggle bus, to say the least. They have not been playing great baseball as well. They drop a series to Campbell, then this past weekend drop a series to North Carolina A&T. I do want to give North Carolina A&T their props for that. They are led by Angel Ortiz. Am I right, Braxton? Angel Ortiz? Yes, he is a absolute dog for North Carolina A&T on the mound. A great program win for them as well. On the flip side of Wilmington not doing well, that's a great program step forward for them. And the next game, who's Reed?
Sorry, yeah. I mean, like we said on Sunday night, just an absolute RPI killer for Wilmington. You know, they're probably going to have to win the CAA tournament to get at large now.
And Braxton, I'll pass it to you to give us a game update as well on talk about the Heels win on Tuesday.
Yeah, so the Heel, well, right now looks like Duke just got one across. Heels were able to get one, tried to turn two, but faked the throw. So it's runners on the corners with one out, and Duke is down one. McDuffie's in the game now. So, but yeah, I mean, how about Tuesday night? The Heels throw a no-hitter give up a run, but no hits to Gardner-Webb. It's their first one since 1999. The offense did enough. Obviously, scoring 11 runs, but I think a lot of that was kind of given to him. But Stokely went deep. I think Sam Angelo went deep, which is good to see for him. But yeah, I mean, a good win. Gardner-Webb, obviously, that they would have loved that to kind of help their RPI, which is down in the bottom. But they need another team that needs to just kind of focus on their Big South. They started their Friday guy, Reed Bertram, kind of as an opener, which was interesting. But I actually saw he's slated to throw on tomorrow, so they're going right back to him. I think he just threw an inning, maybe two, against Carolina, but he is ready to go again for tomorrow. So that was interesting to see them. Maybe try to get a good start out of him, and maybe try to put. They did have the lead against the Heels, but ultimately the Heels were too much for them, and they didn't even get any hits. So, and
What just happened?
the Heels win.
Oh wow, what a play!
Was Gracia jogging to first?
Wait, there's going to be a review here.
That's unbelievable. I thought he was going to be safe easily at first.
Yeah, Colby. I was looking at the stat leaders. Can you walk us through what just happened, Colby?
I mean, it's a very slow grounder hit to the right side of second base. The shortstop picks it up. He's out. Yeah, shortstop picks it up and runs to second and throws Grossi out at first. So, yeah, he's out. The game's over.
What a play, Madera.
Yeah, that's a huge play. Falling away too. Yeah.
And I'm not
that's
trying to.
close, bro. That's
Oh,
close. I don't. Well, the call on the field was out, right?
He's out. He's out for sure. As people listening, Madera makes an absolute great play to get the double play out at first, and not trying to harp on it anymore. But Gracia's had a tough year so far. He was 0 for 4 tonight now with that hit with the strikeout. Reed, how big is Reed? Just, I mean, I know we've talked about it, but this Duke team, they have the talent. But I mean, Gracia in a moment right here, here's a clear moment where last year he would step up in this moment and maybe hit one out or made a big hit. But this year he's really been struggling for the Blue Devils.
Certainly. I mean, freshman All-American last year, and had huge expectations headed into this year. And, he's down to the 9-hole in the Duke lineup. And just grounded that double play to in the game there. But if you got to think, if he turns it around, Duke is certainly a more scary team. They've been winning a lot of games too without him producing.
Yeah, no question about it. Has the review come out? Has the review come out yet?
I don't know what's taking so long. I think it's clearly out, right?
It's still going on.
And we have a comment from Josh Rudd from Flat Ground from Flat Ground. Yeah, from Flat Ground Pitching. He is a major part of that, the owner of that. And he has a question, Braxton, if you want to ask the question, sir.
Yeah, so we got a question in the DMs from Josh Rudd. Watching the show, which mid-major team has the best chance to make a run through regionals? ECU doesn't count in parentheses. I'll start out Coastal Carolina for sure. I mean, look what they're doing. We just talked about them. I would say either probably them or maybe High Point. I like this High Point team this year. But again, I just picked against them for my alma mater. But I would say probably one of those two. Those are the obvious choices. But I really hope we get one of the mid-majors from the Carolinas to do that, because that would be awesome. But Coastal's done it before, so.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I would say, and I don't know about High Point's pitching matching up with high-level bats in like a regional, but I definitely think their offense can keep up. I know they haven't faced the highest level of pitching, but I mean, they scored 32 runs versus Radford. And I definitely think that last year in the Clemson regional, they eliminated Wake Forest. Vanderbilt, sorry. They eliminated Vanderbilt in the Clemson regional. And I definitely think, Colby, if you're coming into a regional and you see High Point as your 4 seed, that is a very dangerous 4.
Okay, here's the call.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I was watching TV. Yeah, I don't think any of the regional hosts would be thrilled at all seeing they have to play High Point in their offense in the first game, or even if they're a 3 seed. That's a dangerous 3 seed too.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very street. Reed, Tobin, who is your mid-major that can make a scare?
We're doing just Carolinas. I mean, obviously, I got to. I'll lean with in the Carolinas. I'll lean with Coastal, High Point, but otherwise nationally, look at Troy. They've been certainly very impressive. Southern Miss always makes noise in the NCAA tournament, so definitely a team from the Sun Belt, I think.
Yeah, no question about it. And Josh Rudd follows that up with, in your opinion, which Carolina's team has been the most disappointing this season, and why do you think they have stumbled? I think I will go first. I will say South Carolina is mine for sure in the Carolinas. I think coming in, I know that I don't think a lot of people had high expectations for them, but they were preseason ranked 14th in the SEC preseason poll. So I guess some people were kind of predicted it, but I definitely think they would have been a lot better than what they were. They have the talent. They have Ethan Petrie. They have a whole bunch of guys up and down that roster. They have the talent. But then again, you are playing in the SEC day in and day out, and you are playing the best. But also, if you do want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And I think at the mound and at the plate, the Gamecocks have not been up to their standards. Braxton, we will go to you next on your biggest disappointment this season so far.
Yeah, I don't mind that shout. I'm going to go in the same state. I'm going to go College of Charleston. I think we kind of all really were kind of pulling for them to have a bounce back year, not a bounce back year, but kind of prove to the world that they deserve to be in last year, and that they're going to come. And again, they could still do that. They've got a lot of ball in front of them, but I think for them to be sitting at 16-11, I think they would have wanted to be a lot better than that. Their RPI is at 183 right now, which is certainly low for their liking. I think that they just kind of struggled to kind of put teams away early in the season. I mean, they have a great rotation. They had some Sunday troubles. They couldn't get a sweep. They lost some games they shouldn't have, and then now they're sitting here at 16-11 and basically in a spot where they've got to win their league to get in the tournament, which they learned the hard way last year anyway. So, can they do that? Absolutely, but it will take them to get to play some hot baseball here in April and May, going into that tournament. So I would say them for that question.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle. They go to Monmouth up north this weekend. I mean, that's a series you have to sweep if you're College Charleston. You cannot walk out of there without getting a sweep. Colby, I'll pass it to you. Your biggest disappointment this year in the Carolinas?
Yeah, I'll keep it in the same conference. I'll go UNC Wilmington. I think, just following college baseball in the Carolinas for years now, you expect Wilmington to be pretty dang good under Coach Randy Hood, and they've been very disappointing this year, up and down, inconsistent on all sides of the ball, can't get anything going, and it's been a really rough season and very disappointing.
Yeah, it's disappointing because they have Cam Bagel and Zane Taylor on the mound. I mean, those are one of the top pitchers in the Carolinas, if not in the country, you could make an argument for. But one guy that I will say, I'm not trying to point the finger, but we have not heard a lot of Tanner Thatch this season. Last year, he led the Carolinas in home runs. This year has kind of had a slump, and I think that's kind of affected it so far for them. Reed Tobin, save the best for last. Reed Tobin, your disappointments thus far in the Carolinas?
I'm the same way with Colby. Wilmington sitting at 14-15 now. Obviously, last weekend losing to A&T. I think everyone expected Wilmington to sweep that series, but Tanner Thatch, like you're saying, we haven't talked much of him. He's still batting .322. It's just only 4 homers so on the season. The rest of that offense, though, has been pretty lackluster. That's kind of held the Seahawks back at this point so far.
Yeah, no question. And we want to appreciate Josh for these questions here. Now on a positive note, which Carolina teams outperform your expectations, and why do you think this has been the case? Is it sustainable for years to come? Braxton, I will let you go first on this one, sir.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one for me. I'm going to go High Point. I mean, I think we all kind of expected them to not really take a step back, but maybe not be as dominant as they've been so far. They lost a lot of guys from that team last year, but they also brought in what they needed in the portal, and I think that's showing. The way they've been hitting the ball this year has been unbelievable to see, and I believe it is sustainable as long as they can keep Joey Hammond around. Who knows what will happen in this day and age of college baseball. He could get a big time job somewhere, but I think that if they've got him as their head coach, they could be kind of like Campbell was in the last few years, where they can dominate that league, the Big South, for years to come. And as an upstate guy, I hope that's not the case. But you got to give credit to what they're doing over there at High Point, especially this season so far. And we'll see if they can keep it going.
Yeah, and I will say this is very sad to say, but it is how it is. I mean, if High Point continues to have seasons like this, he will not be in High Point very much longer. Braxton, would you agree to that?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, you just look at some jobs opening up, even like after the season. I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to get any of these jobs, but Georgia Tech, their coach is leaving. I think they might have someone in waiting though. But I mean, that's just an example of things that are going to happen. But if he's their coach at High Point, that's definitely sustainable. For them to continue to have success.
Yeah, no question about it. Reed, if you want to give your biggest positive.
I'll say I think Coastal's outperformed my expectations for them. We kind of had them in the middle of the preseason rankings this year, but that pitching staff, has really outperformed from what I expected coming into the season. We knew what they were capable, obviously offensively, but looking at their numbers right now, and no pitching staff this weekend didn't allow a single walk all weekend. You're going to win a lot of games when you do that, when your starters come out and do that. And Coastal's in a great position to host a regional this year. And then obviously going forward, they're going to sustain it. They've won a national title within the last 10 years. Something no other team in the Carolinas can say besides Wake all the way back in 1955. So, yeah, hopefully Coastal can continue their hot play here the rest of the season.
And one thing that is not talked about enough, I think, this year with Coastal Carolina, he was on Gary Gilmore's staff, but Kevin Chenal, this is his first year down there at Coastal Carolina, and they are a top 25 program and looking at a regional host. And coming into the season, everyone's talking about Blake Barthel and Caden Bodine at the plate and just in playing. I mean, they have an amazing infield. They have Ty Dooley playing shortstop, playing outstanding. But a group that's starting to get talked about a lot, and especially here in the Carolinas, is their rotation with Jacob Morrison, Cameron Fluke, and Riley Eckhoff have been absolutely outstanding for them this season thus far for the Chanticleers. And just, I think that rotation can take them far. And then on the flip side, you got two All-Americans, possibly three All-Americans in your lineup, as well as just great bats all across that lineup. That I think Coastal is for sure the biggest one. Colby, your biggest?
Yeah,
team?
I was going to say Coastal as well, but I'll switch up since we just talked about them. I'll say not my expectations, but maybe some others. Charlotte. I think you look across the board, they have a legit Friday night ace with Gillespie. They have one of the best closers and relievers in the nation with Joseph Taylor, and their offense is really starting to come together. I think this team, I was going to be the answer to the first question, who could make a run. I think I'm not sure about the at-large chances Charlotte has, but I don't think it's out of the question that they could win the American tournament and get an automatic bid and do damage and maybe sneak out and win a regional. I don't think that's out of the question. So I'll say Charlotte.
Yeah, no question about it, as we have some High Point head coach talk in the chat between Josh and us. Josh says he's not going to go far. His boys who's committed to Wake. Braxton, your pop says High Point is loaded with money. They can pay to keep a head coach. That is a true statement for sure. Josh says he is a great family man. And also, Josh says, could be tough to turn down a Georgia Tech job, but High Point ain't a bad gig. Solid money, remodel facilities, low pressure, close to his roots, his boy at Wake. If anything, I can see Hammond taking a higher paying job as an assistant at Wake, NC State, or Duke. But all in all, he has done a phenomenal job there, and we are rooting for him a lot. He is a follower at Carolina Curveball. We are very appreciative of him. He has supported our content, reposted our content. We are massive fans of High Point. We have a connection there with our friend who's a former player at High Point, Adam Stewart, one of the best shortstops in High Point history. I can confidently say that. He really turned that program around. He was a big part of that, winning the conference last year. Also got some Rockets down there at High Point as well. And Josh Rudd says, keep up the good work, boys. Love the content. Josh, we're a big fan of you as well. Hopefully we'll have you on. Hopefully would love to have you on a show, sure. Definitely reach out to you about that. Boys, it is 10:05. We are running an hour and 5 minutes, but boys, I am having a good time. We will run through these really quick to end the night. Winthrop with a 10-3 win over A&T. Colby, I'll let you touch on the Pack last night, Tuesday night. Winning 9-6 over Greensboro. Colby, Greensboro has been a tough out for the Pack the last couple of years in the midweek, and they sweep them this year, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yeah, correct. They beat them in Greensboro probably about a month ago, and this one got off to a rocky start. I mean, State was down. UNCG jumped out to an early 5-0 lead in the second inning, and just looked like another shaking your head at NC State midweek. But they came back, a big 3-run home run from Braden Fraseman to get them back into the game, and they kept taking advantage of the base runners they were getting on. So that was a good come from behind win for the Pack.
Huge one for them. Braxton and then Clemson goes and beats Georgia Southern 10-8. Big one there as Clemson prepares for the trip to Berkeley this weekend. Boys, could we see Kyle take a game versus Clemson this weekend? I will say Clemson is the better team, but that travel is something.
I think they could take the series.
Oof.
I think there might be an upset this weekend. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that.
Duke.
What?
I mean, they took the series against Duke.
Yeah, I just see this Cal team. I don't know why they're kind of up and down. I think so far, but I just think they're going to beat Clemson for some reason. But yeah, Clemson with another good win. We kind of just like don't talk about Clemson a lot, and I don't know why that is, but like literally they just keep winning games. I mean, they did lose to Coastal, but they did get a really big win, bounce back against Georgia Southern. So, I think they're going to be just fine. They'll probably win the series, and I'll eat my words. But they're going to be hosting. They're going to be a top 5, top 10 team when it's all said and done. Eric Bakich is doing a great job over there. So
for sure, no question about it. We got some more comments here from Josh talking about Coney Durslag. Great story coming from D2. Yeah, leading the country in batting average, which is absolutely outstanding. He also has a comment: who's a breakout player? Breakout player of the Carolinas? No more for or ECU. Who would you, Braxton, say is a breakout player? I will let you lead with this, sir.
I didn't see the no power 4. I was gonna say Cade Lewis. I'll say Scott Newman out of Upstate, just to roll with an Upstate kid. He's got 11 homers right now. He's hitting like 345. I know Upstate's kind of a launch pad park, but he's been really, really good, kind of at the top of that lineup for Upstate. He's been really impressive for them. He's a left-handed thrower, right-handed stick. He plays center field for them most games, and I mean he's been really, really impressive. When I went to watch them last week in Raleigh, he looked the part. Obviously what Johnny Sweeney's been doing is great too. But I would say him, and then maybe one other guy. I'll say I don't want to do another High Point, but their whole lineups.
Yeah.
Freaking. I mean, obviously Connie, but let's go with AJ Martin down at Charleston Southern's been having a really good season. At least start to the season. I don't know if he's been playing as well as of late, but that offense definitely had a really good start. He kind of came out of nowhere, and that team kind of came out of nowhere with their start. Obviously, they've struggled as late, but I'll throw that as another name up there.
Yeah, and I'll lead off with mine, then I'll pass it to you, Colby. I will say Dale Francis Jr. of Gardner Webb. He has really come on. Colby, did I take him from you?
Yeah, that was my guy.
Sorry, Colby, but Colby, I'll talk about him a little bit. Then I will let you finish on. But Colby, he has been absolutely outstanding from the plate. Leads the Carolinas in RBIs with 44, as well as 12 home runs, one shy of tying Ben Miller at Duke. But Colby, he has been absolutely on fire for Gardner Webb, who's had an up and down season, but picks up some wins here and there. But Dale Francis has been a consistent part of that lineup throughout the season.
Yeah, a player that started his career at Alabama State, then transferred to Erskine. I think I'm saying that Erskine or something.
Person.
Yeah, sorry, can't pronounce it. And then back at Gardner Webb this year in his last year, he's been incredible. He has over 1,200 OPS and hitting 350, 12 bombs. He's just an incredible player that doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
Yeah. Reed Tobin, do you have one on top of your head?
Yeah, I'll go with Darian Pendergrass down at Charleston. Leads the Carolinas in stolen bases head into this week. Also batting about 390 on the season. He's been the best bat in that Charleston lineup. Let's see if Charleston can build off Tuesday's win, at Monmouth. You would think they would sweep that series. We know this Charleston team's capable of a lot more, obviously, after last season. So, if Pendergrass continues to play at the level he is, this Charleston team can go places.
Yeah, and on the mound, I want to touch on a few guys here. Will Holmes from the Citadel, 25 innings pitched at a .72 ERA, outstanding. Also, Brandon Langley, 16 innings pitched, 1.13 ERA, as well as Cam Bagwell has really come onto the scene this year. He did throw a perfect game, which is pretty incredible. 7 innings, but perfect game. Any other ones, Braxton, off the top of your head of breakout guys on the mound that you want to give a shout out to?
I'll go Wade Walton out of High Point. He's a freshman. He's been absolutely phenomenal on the mound for them. I think he's tied for lead with the win column in the Carolinas. Up there in strikeouts as well. As a freshman coming in there with plus stuff, he's been really, really good for them, and I expect him to kind of carry them. I don't know if he's throwing tomorrow night or Saturday. He might throw Saturday for that ESPNU game. I'm not sure, but that's one pitcher that I just kind of thought of right off the top of my head.
No, yeah, there's no question about it. And Colby, I know you touched on Taylor and Gillespie. They have been huge for the 49ers. And Colby, those are two arms that can take you a long way if you put them in the right positions in May and June.
Yeah, Joseph Taylor came onto the scene last year for Charlotte. You could tell he had plus stuff on the mound and got it done. I mean, Gillespie was a transfer from Georgia, which he only threw 7 innings in 2024 last season, and they come to Charlotte and be the Friday night ace and put up the numbers he's throwing. I mean, he had a no-hitter earlier this year too. I mean, he's definitely got to be a candidate too for breakout pitcher of the year.
Absolutely outstanding, as well as Braxton, your pop says Sweeney, as well as Gardner Webb kid Dale Francis. Sorry, Colby, for taking.
No.
Sorry about that.
Oh.
All right,
Great
boys.
minds think alike. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about some ice cream right now before I go to bed here as well. As we wrap up the show here, we are going on hour and 13 minutes. Boys, this has been our longest show, but I've had the most fun we've had in a long time on one of these shows. So I'm all for keep going. Braxton, yeah, we're gonna finish out these bottom 3 here, then sign off. Braxton Upstate, tough week for USC Upstate this week. They go 0-2 in the midweek with a loss to two good teams, though. 2 teams in our top 12 power rankings as Charlotte and Wofford tank down Upstate. But hey, you played two good programs.
Yeah. They also opened a new stadium in Spartanburg, so both these teams were kind of part of that. The first official game, I don't even know the name of it, but there's a brand new stadium down there in Spartanburg, so it looked like a big hit for the fans down there. So that's just a cool little nugget from that game. But yeah, definitely, you want to win those games, especially a team like Upstate that was kind of knocking on the door of our rankings after beating NC State impressively, but then they go and they lose their weekend series to East Tennessee, and then they drop 2 in the midweek, and now it's just kind of, backtrack it a little bit. But they've still got a lot of season in front of us, a big series this weekend at High Point. I'm going to try to hopefully maybe get out to one of those games we talked about a little bit. I might try to go to the Bosch too for a Carolina Duke game, but definitely a big series for them. If they can kind of set the tone and maybe, beat a High Point team, I think that will kind of skyrocket them into their Big South season and say, hey, we're here to compete. We're here to, don't forget about us type of thing. So.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, High Point looking for a bounce back after running to Wake Forest this weekend. I think this was a very ticked off Wake Forest team after what happened to them this past weekend. Reed, Wake Forest takes down High Point 13-1. Reed, what kind of momentum does this have for Wake Forest going into Tallahassee as well as High Point with the tough series versus Upstate? Both of these programs going into a tough weekend.
Yeah, certainly huge weekend for both teams. But I mean, certainly we're all shocked that Wake obviously swept last week. After the 6-0 start in ACC play. But shout out Cade Lewis, the transfer from Butler. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
He's been sensational this season for the Deacons. Batting about 440 right now. I think he's tied for second in the Carolinas with RBIs. This is a big test, for Wake this weekend down in Tallahassee. Obviously, if you get swept, they'll have a losing record now in the ACC. Certainly don't think that will happen, but the pitching staff needs to bounce back this weekend.
No question about it. And speaking of bouncing back, South Carolina gets a nice win over Presbyterian 11-1. This Presbyterian squad having a up and down year this year, not the best year down there in the Big South, but I will say good win for South Carolina as that. Well, we have one more comment from Josh, who's still on here. Whose side are you taking on the ejection game, Pollard or Godwin? I know that I have talked to Stephen Igo of Hoisted Colors 247, who talked to Cliff Godwin about this, and Cliff was not yelling at Tyler Albright. He was yelling at Duke's first base coach. So there wasn't – people said he was yelling at the player, Albright, but he was not. Colby, I'll pass it to you first, sir. Are you taking Pollard or Godwin in a 5-round boxing match?
Well, after hearing what you just said, it sounds like just a big misunderstanding then, right? Because I think Pollard thought Godwin was screaming at his player, which I would side with Pollard there if that was actually the case. But after hearing what you said, I think this is just a big misunderstanding.
Yeah, I was there at Jack. I was there at Jack Coombs for this. I will say I did find it interesting that Tyler Albright did chirp after taking a ball to walk him to load the bases. I mean, that was interesting. I don't know why you would need to chirp to the pitcher that you just took a ball from, but it was very, very interesting to say the least. I don't really know why he would do that, but I will say what was funny though. If you've never been to Jack Coombs, go, because both of the coaches walked out of the main gate through the concession stand past the patrons off of the premises. You just saw both of them just walk through the gate that I walked in. It was pretty funny for sure. As Josh said, so soft. Reed, what was your take on the Pollard and Godwin?
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I had to rewatch that. Obviously, I was at the Carolina-South Carolina game when that was happening. Hearing that now, I thought originally that Cliff was yelling at Tyler Albright.
Maybe he was. Maybe he was.
But who knows? I mean, that's classic Cliff Godwin. He's going to get ejected from a game at least one time a year. So, glad he got it out of his system while it's still a little early in the season.
Braxton, your take, sir? You're last.
Yeah, no, I'm not buying it from Cliff. I think he probably was talking to Albright when I watched the clip. But I got to Pollard's got to ride out. He's got to protect his players. I mean, whether he's yelling at his player or his coach, that's his staff member too. He's going to stick up for his guys. So I got to take Pollard's side here. I mean, Cliff isn't, like y'all said, known to kind of be, he's going to protect his players too, though. So if a guy's going to try and show up his pitcher or anything like that, he has every right to tell him to stop or whatever was said. I'm sure it was not PG, but it was definitely cool to see that little kind of butt of heads.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. I know after covering ECU for 2 years very closely, especially the baseball program, talking to Cliff Godwin 2 to 3 times a week, I mean, what you see is what you get from Cliff Godwin, no question about it. So really, really liking that. As Josh says, I text Pollard after the game. He appreciated the love. he wasn't making excuses. Yeah, but
Won
then
games.
again, then again, to Josh's point, Cliff has always been that very very fiery guy, and it was interesting to see Pollard really getting after it. I feel like he was kind of having some ruckus at the end of this game tonight. I saw him.
I was just about to say I could see something happening in this series. It almost got a little chirpy when Vanderbrake hit the home run. I don't know if Prox was saying something or about him kind of showing it up, but I could definitely see that rivalry series getting a little heated and maybe Forbes and Pollard getting after it because Forbes will not, he'll stick up for his players for sure.
Yeah, no question about it. We are absolutely blessed with the head coaches that we have in the Carolinas. I would say it's some of the best. I would say it is the best area in the country, no question about it. Colby, do you have any thoughts on this as we wrap up the show?
No, when you say we have a bunch of good head coaches and the characters, I always just think about the even spin move.
Is
how many years ago is that now?
Probably 7 or 8 by now.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
That is one of the most iconic moments. As Josh says, Crowder is more real than people know. Yeah, he's a heck of a head coach, doing a heck of a job down there in Durham. And hold on, I will say this: it is very disappointing, but I think it is just with Duke football as well. Just the lack of support for Duke baseball. I mean, that is one heck of a program.
Two ACC titles in 4 years.
Yeah, and I was there on a Tuesday night versus East Carolina, and East Carolina outnumbered them 80-20, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that is a amazing program.
Do you think if they hosted at like the DBAP, some people would show out maybe?
See, I don't know if that
like a regional.
Yeah, but from people that now do not hold me on this, I don't know if this is true. This is just from what I've heard from when I was in the business, that the year Campbell, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago when Campbell went to Columbia, I think it was, they put in when they could have hosted that season, they put in a bid at the Fayetteville Woodpeckers at the Segra Stadium.
I was playing that year. It was 2 years ago, and they did put a bid in to host at the Woodpeckers.
But I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think the NCAA necessarily wants that. I think the NCAA wants
they want to sell tickets. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So I think it was don't hold me to this, but I think that played a factor to it. But I do think that if they do host it in Durham at the DPAP, I mean, let's be real. They're putting their bid in at the DPAP.
Yeah, they're not hosting at Coombs.
You can't host it at Coombs.
I don't think you have to have a capacity requirement, I think.
Yes, you have to have a capacity requirement, as well as it's something with hotels in the proximity as well. There's something to do with that as well. Josh says Duke has a blue car label, but Pollard does not. But Todd's not F around. Yeah, he does not F around at all. I mean, 2 AC championships. He's been absolutely outstanding. Boys, we are running at 1:23. This has been an absolute blast, boys. Colby, you were supposed to be on for just 30 minutes, and you've been on for now an hour, Colby. So, yeah.
All good. It was exciting having a live game, too, to react to a little bit. So that was exciting.
And no question about it. I mean, I've thought about having like a live watch along to a game, maybe have like a hot dog eating contest like I did at Hoisted Colors, or maybe like some ice cream sundaes or Dippin' Dots. I mean, have a nice eating contest with this challenge with this. I think that'd be a lot of fun, boys. Boys, it has been fun. This has been an absolute blast. I cannot wait to talk on Sunday to recap all of the action. Reed Tobin, you'll be on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Reed, where will you be this weekend?
Well, I'll be with you in Greenville this weekend. Get to see the Pirates. Probably not going to be able to make it in time to see Norby pitch tomorrow, but we'll definitely be at the Saturday game. Doubt I'll be able to stay Sunday. Got a long drive back, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I want to give a quick shout out to Josh. Thank you, Josh, for tuning in for our content. We're a big fan of your work too. Hopefully, we can get you on soon to talk some ball. Colby, what are you up to this weekend, man?
I gotta take my parents to the airport with them after, I guess. So watch some ball and guess some Final Four action too. I mean, 4-1 sees it's kind of.
Bro, that's insane.
That's a good one.
Yeah, by the way, Reed is not going to be on the show Sunday if he's going to Greenville.
Yep.
I'll be the first to say it.
I'll prove you
Sorry,
wrong.
Colby, to cut you off, but
No, you're good. I mean, that picture is very slanted. I mean,
yeah, what's going on there?
I did not hang that.
Is that the camera or is that actually the what golf course is that?
Pinehurst number 2, baby. U.S. Open last year.
Oh, I got my hat on, Reed.
That I got you.
I will be
3 feet putt.
Oh yeah, you got me this, didn't you? I will be local this weekend. I'll probably go to the Bosch maybe Saturday. I might try to play some golf on Sunday or something, and then watch. I may want to go to High Point if there's a rubber match. High Point upstate. I might have to make that trip. Jason, me and you might have to do that, but
we might have to do that. As Reed Tobin, you never play.
Talk about Pinehurst.
Josh, are you talking about Pinehurst, sir? If you're still in the chat, Reed Tobin, Pinehurst.
I think he's got to be talking about Pinehurst.
I think he's got to be talking about Pinehurst. I played golf today at Lockmere Golf Club in Cary, North Carolina. Great round, by the way. Great
That's Reed Tobin's
round. That's Reed Tobin's home course. Yes, Reed. Have you played Pinehurst?
I've played number 6.
That's that's one I played too.
Yeah.
Cole, will you play Pinehurst yet?
No, and I never will. I would be a disgrace to that course.
I'm not going to say what I shot at Pinehurst.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, as Reed said, I will be going to Greenville as well. Going to try. Shout out Athens Drive Baseball. I'm going to try and catch one of the games this weekend. Oh, one more comment from Josh.
I would love to go.
We're all in, though.
I will be there.
I would love to go.
I think
Josh,
my birthday weekend.
Josh Wright is just scratching the surface talking golf.
We're all in on a Colby birthday trip down there to Quail Hollow. Reed Tobin, our resident golf expert. Reed, who you got?
Rory will win at Quail Hollow this year.
Colby
is the biggest Rory hater known to man, but
save the Masters picks for next week, by the way. Don't even.
Yeah. But I've said all year Rory will win at Quail Hollow this year, and he's certainly off to a red hot start this year. Obviously.
Colby?
I mean, we were just talking about Pinehurst number 2, too. I mean, he missed like 3-foot putts to lose the U.S. Open last year.
Got out Bryson, baby.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. Josh says, I got a guaranteed DraftKings sport, but let's hear it. Let's hear it. Braxton, who do you have winning?
Who do I have winning?
Oh.
At Quail Hollow?
We do, yes.
Ask me again when we get closer to it, because honestly, I don't have a pick right now. I mean, I'm not gonna say Rory, bro. I'm not jumping on the Rory train.
Colby?
It's been a long time since he's been in the winner's circle, but he is known as a major beast. Brooks Koepka back in the winner's circle at Quail Hollow.
Come on, he only wins in the state of New York.
I think he's talking about maybe more Yeah,
like,
that's a solid one.
Too.
That's a solid one. Reed, I did watch the Texas Open today in the clubhouse.
Good.
There it is. I mean,
that's good. I even though I will say with those odds, Josh, I don't know how much money that'll get you because I'm pretty sure they're going to be projected to be there. But I mean,
a parlay with Rory winning and 2 top 5s, the odds probably will be pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. But but I will say if that's a leaderboard on Sunday, I'm sat. I'm not moving anywhere. I'll be Reed. I'll be watching that if that is the leaderboard.
I sure hope you would.
I will not be watching the. This is my last point on golf front. I will not be watching the Masters Sunday. as I have a wedding I'm in.
It's college fun. Yeah, you'll have your phone up at the wedding. So,
Oh, I will find a way. I will find a way next week.
all right, boys, we're going to sign off. We're an hour and 30 minutes in. This has been an absolute blast. Absolute blast. I have Caleb, Bon, and Josh in the chat. Josh, we look forward to talking with you soon. Boys, it has been fun. Be sure to follow us at Carolina Curve BB and Twitter, Instagram. Like us on Spotify. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube. Join our Discord for a bunch of content there too. Boys, it has been an absolute blast. We will see you on
Sunday.
Sunday, right? Everyone except Reed, but we will see.